Thoughts on the executive committee of the Maui chapter of Surfrider. I'd like to talk about that Maui a little bit. 1968 is when it was first announced, the plans for Maui to be expanded, the harbor to be expanded. At the time, it was going to be expanded right into the break that is called freight trains right now. And 2 years later, I was in a film called Rainbow Bridge where we had a whole scene about that, about preserving Maui. And all the constant battles and everything that happened all those years, about a year ago, our last meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers, they told us that the extension of the breakwater at Maui was no longer a preferred option. We just kind of sat there and stunned, you know. Hannah and Lucy and I were like, did I hear that right? You know what I mean? But just about a month ago, they finally gave it to us in writing that the plans were off, so Maui is safe now. I'm also the caretaker at Honolulu Bay. I worked my way into that job when other things didn't working out. And we have a cleanup on the second Saturday of every month. Coming up on this weekend, the 9th. We meet at 8 o'clock in the morning by the porta potties by the Honolulu Stream Bridge. And it just depends on who shows up and what they're capable of or what we end up doing. There's been a lot of work by a lot of volunteers out there lately. Kamehameha School sent 250 volunteers, helped us clean up a lot down by the boat ramp there, a lot of the broken branches and dead and dying vases, and planting a lot of new native plants and stuff like that. We also had 300 volunteers from Ritz Carlton. They were a little bit fruity though on some of their work. The Sierra Club, probably 20 people from Sierra Club really kicked butt. There was real rich old people that were all retired. It really blew my mind that they got down there and just and really worked out. We also had Seabury Hall last weekend that they did a bunch of work for us down by the boat ramp, and we also went out to Akalua Nui and Akalua Iki, which is just about straight across from here on the north side of the island there. That's where the marine debris deposits the most. Like you notice out here, that little container right there, Japanese writing on it, that came from out there. Build those roads at Seabury Hall. And we cleaned that up to the point where and it looks like Hannah says, it looks like that the tsunami debris is going to kind of pass us to the north. But we cleaned it up enough, the stuff that we couldn't get out, we marked it with fluorescent paint and stuff like that, so that we will be able to monitor it and see if some of that stuff really does show up. Last year, 2 years ago, Duma, who has the slideshow down here every year from all the surfer kids, he asked me how he could contribute just directly to stewardship of the bay. So I told him, well, I'll tell you what, I'm on the board of the Surfrider, so what we'll do is we'll set up an individual account so that we can, that'll be just for that, for things that we need to do out there. So the first year he gave me like $200, and we used that for painting the guardrails and fixing the chainsaws and the weed eaters and stuff like that. Last year he came up with $1,000, and one of the big problems that's been bugging me for over 35 years is the drainage at Honolulu Bay on the Surfers Access Road, because you'll notice that the road was originally designed for the drainage to go down the middle of the road, but over the years it's worn off so where it just kind of tips toward the ocean. So when the water runs down the road, it runs down our trails and into the water, or at least it has for the last 35 years. So this last year, with the $1,000 we took, first of all, I took $500 and gave it to Chemo Clark of Truth Excavation for gasoline. We went out and we're going to go get this white van off of Kanono Point, which is known as Three Sisters. And we ended up getting 41 cars, 2 school buses, and 2 backhoes with just $500, you know. So then I had $500 left, and I went to Mount Anaplan and I said, hey, we really need to work on the Surfers Access Road. And they said, well, okay, if you come up with $1,000, we'll match that $1,000. So I said, okay, great. So then I went back to the Surfrider and said, hey, can you match me? They gave me another to match my 500, and then so we had 1,000 to match them. Then we went to Honolulu Surf Company. They matched another 1,000. I think it was actually Surfrider actually put in like 1126 or something like that eventually. So what we did is we put a swale at the worst part, what's called the water tower area, where the surfing contest set up. There was right there is where it would run down our trail. So we put a swale inside there and turned it into the inside of the road and put a pipe that runs into the field. So now the whole first half of the road, as it runs down, all that now goes into the field instead of going into the ocean. Now that's actually only about a third of the work that really needs to be done on it. Same ways, it'll still look the same, but just improve the drainage a little bit and make sure people don't slip off the cliff and stuff like that. So this year in Duma's fundraiser, which Aldo here helped put together that slideshow, we raised $4,000 for us. So now we got $4,000 in the kitty for this next year, which we're going to work on the road a little bit more, and I'm sure we're going to try once again to get matching funding, so that we don't just blow all the money just like real quick, double it up as much as we can. Now there's some other things that really that we really need to keep an eye on, like the fact that the Army Corps of Engineers wants to build a new pier behind us, straight out from right in front of behind the library, another 110-foot pier. Now the original plans that I saw, it was 2-story. It wasn't just a pier; it was a 2-story building on top of the pier. And then the next, and we people were like, "Whoa, I don't know about that." So the next time I saw it, now it was only a 1-story building on top of the pier. And then the last time I went, Angus is kind of cutting me off now. I can't really get any more information. I realized that we're not really for it. The thing that really bothers me about it is on the one side of it, they were going to dredge coral. And I thought it was illegal to take out the coral. They said, "Oh, we're going to replant it in the boat." And when they cut off the top of the boat out there, which they finally did after it was already moved, but then they found out there's already coral growing in it, so now they're not going to plant that in. And they say, "Well, now they told me, oh, the coral's dying, so we're just going to take it out." I don't know. So anyway, stay on Angus McKelvey and Ross Baker and tell them, "Hey, wait a second, we want to know a little bit more about this." There were supposed to be alternate sites here for that. Mine is already congested enough behind the harbor. There was also Maui was also listed, and even Conopoli at Black Rock was listed. When I mentioned that to Angus last night, he just, "Oh, the governor just brought that up." And I went, no, I think it was in class 3 years. What we kind of came up with that.
They were listed now.
What?
The other sites.
The what?
The other sites those are other sites listed.
Yeah, there were possible sites to use this money. But what we kind of came up with is probably the best place to use the money, if there's any left, would be to Mala Wharf. That's the place that really needs some improvement down there, and it would be a lot less congestion. Now, the only good thing, well, for me anyway, that might hold the project back for a while is the fact that the tsunami damage down at the harbor has forced them to use a lot of the money to do the dredging and improvements of the harbor. So it's going to be back a little ways before that happens. Now, a couple other things that, Lucy was talking about, things to keep our eyes on, is in Honolulu Ridge right now, out of Honolulu Bay. The homeowners up there are pushing to get that turned from ag into rural, in which case they would be able to build more houses. They'd be able to ban any agricultural stuff. Instead of guys that have got farms up there and stuff like that, really doing what you're supposed to do on an ag lot. They're the homeowners up there are trying to get that turned over, so there won't be no chickens, there won't be no farms, no farming, no machinery. They don't want to hear anything like that. And a little special thing, they'll be able to build more houses up there on their lots. Another thing you want to look out for is Oluwalu down here. It's a giant project, Oluwalu. Giant project. And what really scares me about it is the fact that they are going to move the road. And like where you can just pull up at Oluwalu right now and just step out of your car, and in 2 minutes you can be in the water. Well, that might not be pretty soon here. They're going to bend that road away from there, and right across from there is where they're planning on putting the sewage treatment plant for this gigantic project, Oluwalu. So we got to keep our eyes on that. And finally, there's a couple of displays I got out here. You can see the marine debris we got them over there. The Seabury Hall kids got those ropes and things like that. And over here, Tim went camping at Windmill last weekend, and one thing I like to mention, people every time when they go camping, which is great, you want to build a fire on the beach, keep them inside the fire rings. And try to make a few different fire rings, because inside that bus stop there you see a pile of nails. Tim's there for about a couple hours with magnets. What we use is old speaker magnets, and you go like this and run around them and you pull it out. And that's a lot of nails that he got out of one hit, because people can burn down house all the time. And the last thing I want to mention here is out there in those green debris spots. A few years ago, the number one thing I would find individually was just net floats like this. And nowadays, this is the number one thing you find. Thank you very much.
So again, kind of the setting we're going for, if you will, is rather than just kind of talking at you guys, it's more interactive. Like, if you have questions.